Hi, it's Gary. Welcome to today's video. Today I've got a first impressions video for you. This is first impressions of this, a white box. This is the gift that my wife gave me on day 25 of the Inkvent calendar of 2022, Christmas Day. This is a gorgeous Waterman Carene. I know, not the most exciting of boxes, is it? But what's inside it really will knock your socks off. So join me now down on the mat. We'll open the box, take a look at what's inside, do a quick size comparison, pop some ink into it, do a writing sample, and I'll give you my initial thoughts. Welcome down to the mat. Here we've got the box. So on the side, we've got address details. We've got a website as well. The other side's fairly blank. Looks like there might be some imprint here for recyclability. One side here, we've got a Carene Amber. So we've got there the barcode, the stocking details. The other side, we've just got the blue box from the inner. Let's slowly remove the inner from this white sleeve. Here we've got this gorgeous Waterman Paris box. So the top, we've got a dark blue, and there's like a paler blue forming a pattern, a bit like maybe lines going across, but not straight lines, they're curvy lines. Waterman Paris in gold embossing. On the side, we've got the Waterman logo. Bottom, it's just plain blue. The other side plain blue, and then the two ends. We don't really care too much about the box. It's nice, it's well presented. Let's open it up and take a look. So opening up, what have we got? Well, we've got this nice plush bed. We've got Waterman Paris there on the inside of the lid. But we don't care about any of that. This is what we care about. This is the pen. This is the Waterman Carene. Let's ease this out. Underneath the bed, we've got a cartridge. Then we've got here, I would think this is like an instruction leaflet. Who needs instructions though? We can just go ahead and do it with what we know, can't we? We pop that away. Fetching my pen rest. There we go. This is absolutely gorgeous. This is the marine amber colour. It's like, I'm going to say it's brown. It's not a brown. It's really, we've got darkness to it, but where we've got the light, got these pale, like golden browns, but then we've got bits of black in it as well. Just slowly turn this around. This is such a pretty pen. Couldn't believe it when I opened up the gift from my wife on day 25 of Inkvent, and it was this. We'll walk through the body. So at the top here, it's got a dome. It's not sharp, but it's definitely a small dome. We taper out quite quickly. We come to a clip. The clip looks like it's just going there into the material. And then the clip itself, it's actually got a curve to it, so it's not a flat one. So we've got, the attention to detail coming in. Is the clip springy? I always struggle with these. It feels very stiff at the moment. I can hardly move that. Doesn't bother me too much because I don't really use the clips. The clip has got the Waterman logo there, I believe. Then as we come down, you can see here, we've got like a little indent in it. Quite pretty. So as we carry on down the cap, it's tapering out. It's this gorgeous material. I can't really describe well how it feels. It feels very, very smooth. I'm not going to say it feels like silk, but that's the sort of thing. Imagine silk over, say, maybe a steel rod. Nice and smooth, but very firm feeling. So we carry on down. We come to the band cap. In front of that, we've got Waterman lined up with the clip. Again, attention to detail. We go around at the back, it says France. Again, attention to detail, we know where it is, and that's in the centre at the back. We come back around to the front. There is a tiny little step down, so tiny you really would struggle to notice it. And that steps on down to the body. The body, the same absolutely gorgeous colour. And we're going down. I think it's the same width until we get to maybe 2/3 along the length. Then we start to taper down till we get to a slightly different end. So on this front part that I'm looking at the moment, it goes all the way down and it looks quite long, but as I turn it around you can see that's actually angled, so we've got this gold end finial and then we've got a little black dot there in the middle. Really nicely put together. The cap, it pulls off, it snaps on firmly. That comes off to reveal this gorgeous inlaid nib. This is, I believe, a 14 karat gold nib. Let me just double check that with my loupe. So I'm wrong about the nib. The nib is 18 karat. So we've got the Waterman logo. One side we've got 18k, the other side we've got 750, which is the mark for how much gold content there is in there. It's a medium nib. This is absolutely gorgeous. We've got a black section, I say it's inlaid in there. If we turn it over, that black section goes all the way down there to the nib. This is one thing I will need to investigate. If I ever needed to take the nib off to give it a really deep clean, is that possible and how would I do it? The body unscrews. Now, it felt very firm down there at the bottom, but then it gets easier after about one turn. So that's a good seal on there. We've got a couple of O-rings, got metal fittings. Then here we've got a cartridge converter. Is that Waterman on there? Let me just check this. Yeah, here on the converter we've got Waterman and made in France. I know I'm having to do a lot of checking today, but this is absolutely gorgeous. Let's pop it back together. I'm just going to step away from the desk. I'm going to take the pen. I'm going to give it a good clean out before we put any ink into it. So I'm back. I deliberately haven't put the pen back together yet. So what we've got here, there's a hole that I've noticed when I was cleaning it out. When I was flushing it with my syringe, I had water coming from the nib and from this hole. So I'm guessing this is to allow the airflow to happen. The converter, it's got this nice finish at the bottom. Feels like a rubberized plug, so that means you get a better seal, so I'll pop that in. One thing I did notice when cleaning it out, there was some blue ink in there. So obviously the nib, the pen, it's been tested at the factory before it was sent out. Again, a little touch, but it's the little touches that make the big difference. So I'll pop that all to one side. Fetching Quickie Koala, he's today's ink holder. Today's ink, I've decided to go for Diamine Merlot. It's a purplish ink, so I'm hoping that we might get some similarity or a little bit of nice contrast there with the body. Let's take off the top. There's no sheen or shimmer in this ink, which again I think is a good thing. So the converter, that's all the way down at the bottom. This is where I hope the actual pen fits in. And we'll fetch some ink up. That's with one twist of the converter. Quite often I need a couple to get that much ink. So let's clean this off, pop the pen back together. There we go, there's the pen back together. Get rid of the ink. Now you might be asking about the size of this pen. Let's fetch in my 5 pen holder. So there's the Waterman Carene. Here's a Pilot Metropolitan, and we've got a Lamy Safari. So just a bit bigger than the other two. I'm just going to show these unposted, mainly because I use my pens unposted most of the time. So here's a size comparison unposted. So the Carene unposted, lengthwise about the same as Safari, definitely though a lot thinner. Just look at that nib. 18 karat gold versus 2 steel nibs. Let's get these out of the way. I brought in the notepad of testing. This is an Oxford Optic paper, really nice fountain pen friendly paper. I try to use this for all of my tests. This is actually in a black and red A5 notebook. It's time then to write. So we have here a Waterman. Wow, that's very smooth. Carene with a medium nib. This pen, it was not cheap. It cost my wife 266 Australian dollars. The ink is Diamine Merlot. No, it's not, is it? It's Diamine Merlot. I don't know. My poor old brain. I did do an unboxing the other day where I put Diamine Merlot into my Pilot E95S. So I'm still getting them confused. Very similar colours between the two as well. Drying times. So here's immediate. 10 seconds. 30 seconds. 1 minute. Yeah, after a minute, that's nice and dry. I'm going to move the mic down to the paper so you can hear the pen writing. That is ever so nice. There's a very slight tactile feed. It's not glass smooth, but it's not catching on or dragging on the paper, but you can still feel it. Not a lot of audible feedback either. Let's look for some line variation. So this is not a flex pen. This is a medium. This is with no pressure. I put the slightest amount of additional pressure on just to see if I can get a difference. The line ever so slightly wider. So this is with no pressure and this is with pressure going down. I'm not even attempting to flex this. It is not a flex nib, but it's nice to see the difference in line variation. Flow test. Goes all the way across the A5 page. No issues with any skipping, no issues with any hard starts so far. I know I've only written a teeniest little bit with it. What are my thoughts on this? What are my first impressions? I could not believe it when I opened it and this is what was there. I am absolutely gobsmacked. This is a gorgeous looking pen. Just look at that. I would even say it's on par with my now all Nautilus 365 with Jonathan Brutt's primary manipulation 3.5. That's how nice it looks. It's an expensive pen. It's not a cheap pen. We're talking 266 Aussie dollars. I do think it's worth it though. It is very, very nice. I actually like the ink with it. I think the ink is a fairly good match. Not perfect, but very close. The ink goes really well, writes really well. Maybe in a future fill I might try Diamine Writer's Blood, because that might be a little bit closer. But I like this Merlot. I haven't used it for a while, so this was a good opportunity to get it out and use it. We'll look at the writing. I see some little bits of shading coming through. I don't really notice a lot of shading with this ink though, so I'm not concerned that there isn't a lot. Very nice, very smooth. Tiny little bit of feedback. I like the tactile nature. To me, a glassy pen I just don't enjoy, but this is nice. It's obvious it's been checked at the factory. You know, yes, I saw the blue ink, but it wrote out of the box. That's what you should get with a pen. It should write out of the box. It came with a converter. You know, we've seen a lot of expensive pens that you don't get a converter with. I think that's brilliant because that means I can start using my bottled ink straight away. I like the little bit of rubberization at the bottom of the converter. I think that's going to help make a seal. I like the feel of the pen. It's nice and comfy. You know, I was using it unposted. Really comfy. Do not need to use this posted. Can you post it? You can. It seems quite secure. Really wouldn't recommend it unless you've got quite big hands that you need to have that longer pen. Because unposted, it just sits there in the hand. You hardly know it's there. Section does feel a wee tiny bit on the thin side. But again, that's me. I'm used to thicker feeling sections. So that's something that I'll get used to fairly quickly. In a way, I would have liked it if it was screw on and screw off for the cap. Purely because I don't trust myself with pull on and pull off caps. One of these days I'm going to end up pulling it off accidentally in my shirt and then having ink all over. I don't use a clip anyway, but this clip did feel very stiff. I will have to get it to loosen a little bit because when I use it with my Galen leather portfolio, obviously I need it to go over the hooks that are inside it. But other than that, no issues with it. Really nice, an awesome present, an awesome surprise from my wife. So it's my first impressions of the Waterman Carene and Diamine Merlot. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. What are your thoughts on the Waterman Carene? Have you got one? Have you got a pen similar? Please drop your comments down below. Let's kickstart the conversation. Please hit the thumbs up button. Every time you like, every time you comment, just helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.